LSU takes on Clemson Monday night for the national championship. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. We told you the number's been bouncing around from 5.5 to 7, all in favor of LSU. Chris Fowler, who'll be on the call, was on a conference call earlier this week talking about the matchup between the Tigers.
Everybody knows about what Clemson's done, 29 straight. LSU, the unstoppable force, playing down there in their backyard. Burrow and Lawrence, a ton of marquee value. If you look at the future, possibly the next two number one overall picks, certainly among the top two quarterbacks taken. So we're excited about all that. A lot of great memories from championship games in New Orleans and looking for a real juiced-up dome and a game that, if possible, surpasses the hype, the way that Ohio State comes.
Potential 2 number one picks playing at quarterback in this one. Burrow could be the number one pick coming up in this year's draft. A lot of people have Trevor Lawrence penciled in as the number one overall selection in next year's NFL draft. Kirk Herbstreit was talking about who has the advantage of that position on Monday night.
I expect to see potentially a game where which quarterback has the ball last type of game. So I don't want to make it look like one has a clear advantage, like you said. I would give us probably a slight edge to Joe Burrow just because of how consistent their offense has been this year. And he really feels that if you give him the same look or he knows what you're in, you have no shot of slowing him down. So, and I don't know if I've, in my years of playing the game and covering the game, probably over 30 years, I've ever seen a quarterback executing at the level of Joe Burrow in a system like this.
Dabo Swinney has coached in this game at
Orgeron.
Like
that. I mean, that's Herbie right there, and that speaks for itself when you talk about in 30 years Herbstreit's been doing this. He's never seen a quarterback like Joe Burrow executing the way that Joe Burrow is currently. It's something I almost want to talk about coming up next, which is like enjoy, just a reminder, enjoy these times, enjoy this week. Every minute of this week is precious. Appreciate the history we're witnessing.
Sweeney's got experience on this stage. Orgeron is not coached in a national championship as far as being a head coach. Desmond Howard explained the difference.
Well, the biggest challenge for me is for Coach O because he hasn't been here before.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney, he's been here before. Even though it's a longer layoff between the semifinal and the final game, he still knows the routine. I think Coach O, he's going to have to make sure that his guys don't peak too soon. Everyone's excited, everyone's anxious, and this is in their backyard practically. So if I'm Coach O, I want to make sure that my guys just don't peak too soon.
See, look, that's something that I don't have a lot of worry about that. I think that's been in Coach O's wheelhouse. It's been his strength since he's been head coach, has been his ability to get people to focus on the task at hand and to not make the moment too big. And the record supports that. What is it, 10-1 in his last 11 games against top 10 matchups? This will be the 7th AP top 10 matchup that LSU has this season. I don't think that's a concern.
A lot more sound coming up, previewing the national championship game from Fowler, Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and more. NFL coaches, New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton met with the press for his postseason press conference on Tuesday. He was talking about the future of his quarterback, Drew Brees.
It'd be too early to say. I just finished talking to him 5 minutes ago, and it was about something else. It was about LSU tickets. So it's just we just played 2 days ago, so we're clearly not even at that stage relative to our own roster. And I think it's always best that there's time that takes place between the last game and even when you begin to do what we do next. I think it's important that there's some time in between that because you want to really give the true evaluation of your roster. I'm talking about all the other positions, but there's not that formal call.
That's one thing that Sean Payton's been very, very good about each and every year is getting intense with the self-scouting, not being impulsive or reactive, but really sitting there diving deep on how can this team improve, where we're weak, where were we strong, and then making decisions based off of that. So, yeah, give Coach Payton a little time to figure out how to navigate this offseason with so many players coming up for contract.
Couple of coaching moves in the league on Tuesday. Baylor coach Matt Rhule agreed Tuesday to a 7-year contract to become the Carolina Panthers' next head coach. That according to sources in ESPN's Adam Schefter. The deal is worth $60 million and with incentives could be worth up to $70 million. Rhule made $4.1 million this season at Baylor. The Panthers paid a $6 million buyout to hire their new coach away from Waco. The Panthers announced Rhule's hiring on Tuesday but did not disclose the terms of his contract. And up in New York, What's next, Rivs? There goes your guy. The New York Giants are finalizing a deal with New England Patriots wide receivers coach Joe Judge to become the team's next head coach. That according to ESPN. Judge, 38 years old, youngest of 7 known candidates mentioned for the Giants vacancy. He's been on both Alabama and New England staff.
I didn't even want him till we couldn't have him.
That's right.
I mean, is that not just an eternal truth of women, men, anybody, and
I
who
saw
they're
that headline this morning. I was like, no.
Wait,
who they're attracted to? Yeah, exactly. Isn't this an odd hire? Look, first off, Matt Rhule's hire completes an incredible 4-year run where when he got to Temple, I think they were 1 or maybe 2-10 the year before. Then he gets to Baylor. In his first year at Baylor, they go 1-11. 2 years later, they win 11 games and play in the Sugar Bowl. So, I mean, Matt Rhule, well-earned, incredible rise. I'm excited to see how he does in the NFL, even if I'm a little worried about him being in the NFC South. Joe Judge is more intriguing, though, because this comes on the heels of a year where the Patriots' problem was offense. And they had no wide receivers, and they had no offensive success. And yet I feel like they're just kind of – he must have interviewed great. But they're just banking on the Belichick-Saban process rubbing off on Judge and that paying dividends. Maybe it does, but a bit unorthodox by the Giants there.
It's crazy to go get New England's wide receivers coach this year, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it just speaks to, like I said, I think he killed the interview process, and everybody wants a little bit of the Saban-Belichick magic.
LSU basketball Tigers tip off at 8 o'clock tonight versus Arkansas. Hogs come in 12-1. Overall in the season and 1-0 in SEC play. Coach Eric Musselman, former LSU assistant, now the head coach with the Arkansas Hogs. Tip-off late when 8 o'clock, 7:30 pregame for you on Eagle 98.1. And the New Orleans Pelicans take on the Bulls tonight, 7 o'clock in the Blender. A lot of good B-roll and video coming out of Zion Williamson going through practice, and looks like he's bouncing around on that knee. Still yet to decide on when he'll make his rookie debut, but the Pelicans back in the Blender tonight at 7 o'clock. Those are your headlines